Voila! The map!
Whoa.
It looks more like a statue than a map.
Oh no, it's a map.
And it's 3,500 years old.
Precisely.
Well, why didn't your colleagues come to L.A. to study it, rather than cart it across the country? Without security, might I add.
Talon, you think I'm stupid?
No, of course
We
not.
had security, you just never saw them. Plus,
Okay.
there's a whole room full of Hatshepsut statues here at the Met in New York, and we needed them together. Much easier to bring this here.
Fair enough.
This is so cool. Who's Hatshep, whatever?
We will spare you the academics and 30th century history lesson on the Egyptian Empire.
This is the first woman in history to lead an empire, the Pharaoh Hatshepsut. I'll explain why she looks like a man later.
Anyway, she essentially ushered in the golden age of Egypt, the 18th dynasty, which gave us King Tut, who was nowhere near as wealthy as most every other pharaoh of the 18th dynasty.
Okay, so has her tomb been found?
None of the tombs of any queen of the 18th dynasty have ever been found, including Nefertiti and nearly 70 other pharaohs. Their treasures could still be buried in their grand tombs deep under the ground.
Or they could have all been looted by grave robbers, like most of the other tombs that have been found.
Hey, they missed King Tut's. They could have missed
Sam,
others.
I really don't have a lot of time, and we have more business to discuss with Talon.
We'll get to it. Besides, Anton and Cora haven't heard any of this stuff.
Right, and I've had an obsession my whole life with Egypt and all that exotic.
Hey, no.
Oh,
Hey, no pictures. Nobody has pictures of this.
What's the big deal?
You'll find out.
Yep, you'll find out.
Okay, so how much is this thing worth now, anyway?
That's really not relevant. But a 5th dynasty statue of a scribe recently sold for 24 million. We were just offered over 40 for this.
So the hieroglyphs on it have something to do with it being a map.
Yes, one that could usher in an exciting new era for archaeology in Egypt.
Okay, Dad, now tell them all about Napoleon's gold.
Oh, here we go, Napoleon's gold.
That has something to do with this.
It sure does.
I have a feeling this could get far-fetched.
Like all the buried treasure stories.
Yeah, like the treasure of those Templar Knights or
Knights
whatever it's
Templar.
called.
Their junk's never been found, worth billions. There's a long list of never found treasure, like the San Miguel in 1715 lost treasure fleet sunk near Havana, Cuba.
Okay, they get it.
Worth billions.
Okay, keep going. Tell us more.
I'll hold off on the details and findings on how this could lead us to more tombs in Egypt.
Come on.
To be continued. Now, as to this so-called Napoleon's gold, and our very personal connection to this little pharaoh here, you need to fasten your seatbelts and pay attention, because pay attention, because we are going on a treasure hunt.
History keeps her secrets, pages lost in books of old. We will leave you clues and fragments, dead ends and trails gone cold. As our fathers lie in silence, their tales may never be told. You must look within our science for our stories and our gold.
Our great-grandfather on our mother's side came to America from France with this statue in 1905 and sold it to a collector. That's him there, just before he moved to Arizona. I only knew him for a few years as an old man, but I remember him sharing about France and intriguing tales of hunting for treasure and gold. He used to cite a poem about our 4th great-grandfather.
There once was a man named Pierre Leroux, with hidden treasure out there waiting for you. Oh, you will need his book of riddles and clues. Go and discover. But don't forget your digging shoes.
And that's why I became an archaeologist.
Okay, so who is Pierre Leroux?
That is Pierre Leroux. He was part of Napoleon's group of top scientists. But let's first go back to 1798. General Napoleon and his army rolled in to conquer and rule this great land of Egypt. Along with his army was a long list of scientists.
From geologists to botanists to archaeologists,
And what did they find?
the Rosetta Stone,
Knocking the door of understanding.
the open door,
Like treasure and gold.
treasure and gold.
Then came the British to run off all the French. They sent Napoleon marching all the way home. Later they were forced to turn over the Rosetta and most of everything that they found. But Pierre LaRue stuck a few things for himself, along with his lovely little pharaoh. He hid it all, then headed out digging for more treasure and gold. Then the general became the emperor set to take over the world. Our fourth great-grandfather, Pierre LaRue, is still one of his most trusted scientists.
And now it's the year 1812, and things get real interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Emperor Napoleon and his army roll out.
500,000 men off to take over Russia. But this was a failure for the French and their allies of epic proportions of bloody disaster.
And as winter settled in, the Russians drew them deeper and deeper until they slowly wiped out nearly every last one of them.
The Russians abandoned Moscow and set the city on fire. Napoleon's army spent a month there before returning home. They looted and rounded up everything of value they could, even melting down all the gold they found to make it easier to bring home with them and their tiny army that remained.
So what about Pierre LaRue?
Napoleon had to travel under disguise, knowing the Russians would come after him, and they did. They split up the gold and valuables. We believe most of the treasure was sent in another direction, with Pierre LaRue guided by a group of French and Italian soldiers.
Did he ever say what happened to it?
A story was passed down from Pierre's son about his father's return home from the war in Russia. He returned home very ill, clinging to his life. He and his mother were by his father as he died. He said that moments before Pierre's death, he held up his personal book of poems, stories, and drawings, and said,
Oh, dead. Napoleon.
and he died.
That book was full of hieroglyphs, riddles, and poems, and none of it made any sense.
Hieroglyphs weren't even deciphered for another 10 years. It remained a mystery why he drew them in his book.
A mystery to his son and his grandson. Distractions came and time passed.
The collections of Pierre LaRue remained relics until our great-grandfather came to America.
I thought you said he sold the statue.
Years later, our father bought it back as a gift to me.
But now for the exciting news. The one page that we still have from Pierre LaRue's book has finally been decoded.
What? What do you mean? I thought you said the book was stolen.
Pierre's book was stolen.
Yes, right out of our home in Idaho in 1989. It was devastating.
My senior year of high school. But we may not need it. We're on to something.
Well, how so? Sorry, you'll have to wait. We can't tell you everything. There are still a few more riddles to solve.
And so history keeps her secrets, pages lost in books of old. We will leave you clues and fragments, dead ends and trails gone cold. As our fathers lie in silence, their tales may never be told. You must look within our sonnets for our stories and our gold. Now our fathers lie in silence, some tales may never be told. So we look within our sonnets for their stories and their gold.
You didn't say there was a page missing.
Yes, I did remember. We need the page.
Or we stay one step ahead of them, and then getting this statue is one big multi-million-dollar bonus.
It sure is.
Now remember, you've got just over a week to get what we need in order to get the highest buyer.
I know.
Oh, now, my network is deep and I've got a lot of options. But depending on how this goes, things can get messy. Real.
I don't really care anymore. I just want to be filthy rich and free to roam the world.
In under 12 months' time, we'll be living like royalty. Our own private island with a villa down by the sea.
No more hanging in the shadow of a superstar.
The rich and famous, cause it only gets me so far. I don't wanna work another day in my life. So let's find more treasure and gold. More gold, more gold, more